there, it's Amy Schmidt, your host of the Fearlessly Facing 50 and Beyond podcast. I am so happy that you have chosen to spend time with me. As a reinvention confidence expert, along with a storyteller, I've shared quite a few things along this journey. But what I've found is the most important info to share are stories. Stories of amazing people, ordinary people, extraordinary people, doing things that are going to inspire you to action. So come and join me in this space because you're going to be inspired. Let's get started. It's our time. Hey there, it's Amy, and welcome to this episode of the podcast. I'm so excited that you're here with me and popping in the earbuds and taking a listen for about the next 25 minutes with my incredible guest today. Julie Gordon-White is with me, and I really know that you're going to enjoy this conversation, and you're also going to go ahead and purchase some of these incredible energy bars, which are basically female formulated energy bars. You know, for those of us that are of a certain age, they will get you through those salty, sweet cravings that we all have. And they have been like gold for me, especially these last 75 days from beginning of the 2023 New Year. I have been off and running in more ways than I can even express. I'll tell you, it's been crazy. A move across the country, about 10 trips in the last 75 days. And still going strong. So lots changing in my world. And, you know, we do master transitions at this age. And as we'll hear from Julie today, she knew that there was more to do on her journey. She wanted to create something for women that could give them the fuel, the energy, the power, the nutrition that they need at this phase of life. So before we get started with that interview, I want to remind you that if you're a podcast junkie and you listen to podcasts, go ahead and leave a review for Fearlessly Facing 50. I would so appreciate that. There are millions of podcasts floating out there, and I'm thankful that you are choosing to pop in the earbuds for this one, but I would so appreciate the extra mile to leave a review for the podcast. I also want to remind you to follow me on Instagram. It's Fearlessly Facing 50. Also on Facebook, Fearlessly Facing 50. And also a little quick reminder for those of you that are interested in doubling your confidence. And what I mean about that is your mindset confidence and your wellness confidence. It's a package, and you need both to really feel your best confident self as you navigate and move through this world. You can go to Fearlessly Facing 50 and purchase the course there. It's a course that I put together with the incredible Kristen Cofield. She really handles all of the wellness aspects around nutrition, around sleep, around hydration that we need to keep going. And my component and my nut here is all about mindset and how we can move confidently through the world. So it's a 14-day course. You can take it over and over, but you know what's so important in those 14 days? If you dedicate a few minutes every day to your confidence and flexing and building that muscle, your spring is going to be incredible. So check it out. You can purchase it on my website, Fearlessly Facing 50. You can purchase it here on the show notes, or you can go to betterthangossip.com. So without further ado, sit back and relax and enjoy this inspiring conversation with the one and only Julie Gordon-White. Well, welcome to the show today. This is going to be a fun episode. And I know this is not dropping till 2023, but this is my last interview of the year, which is so amazing. And I think, what's that old saying? Saving the best for last. I think I might just be doing that right now, Julie Gordon-White. I am excited to see you.
I'm thrilled to be here and honored that you would consider me saving the best for last. I love bringing it home and finishing strong with you, Amy.
I know. You're great. And you know what? I started off today with a bunch of water because I'm always trying to hydrate, because you know how we're always being told perimenopause, menopause, we got to stay hydrated at any age. And I was sent, thanks to Julie, some of these amazing BossaBars. These are incredible.
Oh, I love it. You just made my whole day. Thank you, Amy.
I mean, today I had the vanilla almond. I think it's, toasted vanilla almond. I've had the chocolate. They're fabulous. And what I love about it is, well, we're going to talk about the product, but we're going to more talk about the kind of the story behind the brand and what brought you to this point. and why you're rocking it as a boss. And I love BossaBars. And I know there's a whole phrase, a whole, what is it, an acronym or BOSSA, and what that stands for.
Yeah, our manifesta. Yeah.
Yes, which I love. So before we get started, let's just do a 30-second little download of who you are and why you're so passionate about what you're doing today.
Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. The short version, it's hard to do a short version when you're 57, but I'm going to go in here. But the idea is that, I've been an entrepreneur for probably 30 something years now, and from everything from boutique mergers and acquisitions, coaching women entrepreneurs. But then I found myself in the pandemic, 2020, eating too many sweets. I'm smack dab in the middle, like on the bridge of perimenopause and post. Is this too much information? I never got to 12 months without a cycle because my daughter would come home from college and interrupt the whole thing.
Yes.
It was the craziest thing, the way we would sync up. So my hormones were raging, and I wanted to have a better choice because I wanted all the sweet things all the time. I'm 5'1". There's no place for the extra weight to go. But honestly, more importantly than that, I have hypertension in my family, Amy. So waist size matters, and I don't want to have to be at risk for a cardiac event. Yep. And so all those things came together. I did the research. What do I want to eat for my own body? And that's how I came up with the formulation, which was a recipe at the time. And then I shared it with my girlfriends, and they said, Julie, you've got to share this with other women like us so we can all make a better choice. So that's the short version of how this came about. And I always used to tell my coaching clients, don't start a product company. It's too hard. The profit margins are too small. It costs too much capital. But you know what? Why not now? This is the perfect time for me to have this challenge. And the mission is even bigger than the bars. So I'm thrilled to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, isn't it? It's amazing. And just since I've been doing this for the last, 4 years, just around this whole space of kind of midlife 50 plus, it's amazing how the M word has now just completely transformed. And we say menopause, and it's like, you're seeing it during the nightly news, the ads that are running now.
The ads, exactly. I remember the first time I saw an ad, my husband was with me. He's like, oh my God, is that a menopause? My husband's videotaping the menopause commercial. Yes. And I'm like, yes, it's our time.
Isn't it
it's
amazing?
Been a long time coming. Such an old topic, a forever topic, but it's brand new in terms of conversation. So I'm thrilled. I consider our bars a talking stick, Amy, actually, because, when a woman is holding a bar, eating a bar, it gives her the freedom to own who she is in midlife and talk about it with other women. So that's why I think it's so important, even beyond all the great nutrition. It's that little talking stick and confidence builder.
I like that. And we just need to keep passing it to the next one in line. Like I always say, kick the door open and put your heel there and hold it open for the next woman behind you, because that's what we need to do. Yeah. And that's what this age really is. It's about celebrating women. It's about thriving in community. And, really, I loved what Michelle Obama said recently. And she talked about the fact that it's really a gift to get to menopause, honestly. It's a gift. We should be celebrating
the alternative, right? I'm not even excited about the term anti-aging, because why do we want to anti-age? We want to pro-age. I want to be 101. I would say that's my goal. And I want to be vital, energetic, and sexy at 101. I'm not afraid of aging. It's just how you age. That's the difference. So
it's how you age. Aging with confidence. Well, I want you to take me back to, an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur as well. And it's a hard gig. Let's be honest. You can work 24/7. You can feel like a hamster on a wheel a lot of the time. But, I always say that you develop this highlight reel along the way, and you look back at what you've accomplished, your stories, your challenges, your failures, all of these things that you've experienced as women. And then those really translate and propel you forward. So you've done these things as a coach, as a business executive, and all of a sudden, take me to that day when you met at the intersection of, passion and purpose and said, okay, I am going to create this product.
Yeah. I have to be really honest. It was kind of a wobbly moment, Amy, because I knew I was ready. I realized in my life, I have a 10-year entrepreneurial cycle. So about 10 years, I'm ready to start something new, that new challenge. Fortunately, I haven't, I keep my kids and my husband, they've all made it way past the 10-year cycle of mine. I've had my husband 31 years. He's staying, the kids are good. But entrepreneurial, I really love that challenge of building and growing. And it was happening during 2020 when I had some downtime. But I thought, I'm having this spark, this whisper. Mm-hmm. And I always tell women, when you have the whisper, you need to listen because it's for you. Otherwise, you wouldn't have it. But it was a whisper I didn't want to hear. I'd be like, really? Like I tell women not to do what I'm thinking about doing. Right. But that was, when I paired it with my own experience, how I was struggling with menopause and weight gain and not having a good choice, and how empowering I found this conversation to be. And then throw on the idea of doing something I tell other people not to do. Like, oh, this is for me. This is for me. And I knew I had to make it go.
Who's the first person you told?
Probably my husband, because he was the one who was here.
Exactly. You're like, you know what? I'm going to do this. Right. But for so many women listening, that is a tough thing. And it's not the majority. Let's be honest. A lot of women will hear that whisper and they'll kind of push it aside or they'll silence it.
Yes.
And they won't let the volume increase on that whisper. And that's the thing.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the confidence. And I know you're an expert at helping women with confidence and inspiring that. And it's the confidence, it's the doubt that surfaces right up to the top. As soon as you think, well, what if? And then that word how swoops in, and it can squash all of that momentary confidence. So we have to really watch out for the how, because the how gets you. The how is tricky. It gets you every time. So you almost have to be prepared for that. And I knew to be prepared for that. And like, okay, don't worry about the how. Do I believe in this? Am I committed? Am I willing to go the distance through all the ups and the downs and the challenges? Yeah, I am. And then the how works itself out. You can figure that out.
It works itself out. Yeah. But there's a lot of risk involved. Let's be honest. I mean, I tell the story often of when I, finally decided to launch this brand. And, I had done a podcast, my first episode, I forgot to push record on, I have my glasses on my head half the time when I'm looking for them, or I'm looking for my flashlight, with my phone when I'm looking for my phone. I mean, we do all these things. There's risk. One of the biggest risks for me, and I talk to women a lot about this, was the financial aspect. Because to be perfectly honest with you, that was something I didn't necessarily grow up with a lot of wisdom around. There were not a lot of transparent conversations about that in my household. I have a husband who grew up very differently, and they talked about everything. Money was it. They knew what was coming and going all the time. And so I had this little, I call it this little nugget of money here, and I had to go into the bank and open an account.
Yeah.
And I can remember that feeling of going back to like 8th grade geometry class and breaking out in a rash and thinking, can I do this? Because it was a risk.
Yeah, exactly.
Take me back to a moment for you that was a real risk, and how you overcame that.
Yeah, Amy, I've been growing my risk muscle over the years, so it's like my quads. It's strong, but I'm not someone, I'm not that penguin that just jumps off the cliff. If you've ever seen that little meme, running around, that's not me either. I've always trust myself around money, and I've always believed that I could make it. So I don't have any scarcity around money. My husband is probably always, not probably, he's my number one cheerleader. So he always has supported everything that I've done. But this business was a little bit different because it costs, there's a lot of capital required. And I put in, I worked very hard building my companies, and I had to have that sit down with him. Okay, I'm going to probably put 6 figures of our money into this business to get it started, because I can't ask for anyone else's money if I don't have any skin in the game.
Right.
And he's okay. That was probably the moment that his eyes got big, and I'm like, okay. And so I think it's because, it's good to build a muscle over time. And so it's when we try to, let's say, go to the gym. It's a good euphemism here, metaphor. Go to the gym, and I'm going to become a bodybuilder, in 30 days or less. Now you just hurt yourself because you went from deconditioned to doing too much. Now you've got a ripped muscle. Now you're injured and you're out of the game. Versus, okay, start with a weight that's just a little bit more than you're comfortable with, but not too much. And then just keep lifting over time. So I would say that's how I've developed my tolerance for risk. And then over the years, it's pretty significant now. That's the beauty of midlife. We have wisdom and time in the saddle. So you don't have to be so worried, because if you don't know, you actually know that somebody who does know. So
yes. Yes.
And your ego is a little bit more set aside. So you're willing to ask for help, where maybe I think my younger self, I was like, I can do this myself. And, you
Exactly.
get yourself in trouble that way. So I encourage
Mhm.
women to start where you are, but push yourself beyond your comfort zone. You have to, because that's you, in order to build muscle, you got to tear it a little bit, just a tiny
Mhm.
bit. And then,
Mhm. I love
yeah,
that you said that. I've never heard risk as a muscle. I talk a lot about confidence being a muscle, and actually I love that. That risk correlation
they
is
all
is
are.
so true. They all are. Yeah.
They all
You
are a muscle.
yeah. I mean, it's
And I'm
really
going to just
interesting.
add that the biggest muscle that you're building is your brain, right? The
Yeah.
brain, this organ, because it's all mindset. It's all mindset. I still work to this day on my mindset every single day, every single morning. It's
So
part of
do
my
I.
morning routine
Do you?
because I
Oh,
haven't
love
built the
it.
business. Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
It's huge because I haven't built the business that I am desiring to build right now yet. So I know I don't quite have the mindset and the identity that I need
Mm-hmm.
yet. So in addition to strategy, tactics, cash, all the fun things, team, customers, I've got to build my mindset along with my identity, because if I had it already, I would have already done it.
Yeah.
So that's just as important, and it's a key strategy in anything else.
Mindset is such, I mean, the mind is such a powerful thing, but mindset is so important. And it's a challenging thing for us as women, 40, 50,
Yeah.
60 beyond. I think it really is. There's so many women listening that have these fabulous ideas and they want to execute them and they just can't push play. They continue to
Mhm.
push pause. When I went to my first podcast, big expo, I was probably one of the oldest ones there. Actually, one of my mentors I met there, he's a young gentleman that I could be his mom.
I
And
love it.
you walk in, and I remember talking to a woman who was in her 30s, delightful young woman. And she said, I've been wanting to start a podcast. This is my 6th year of really thinking about it. 6th year.
Mm.
And that resonates with a lot of listeners because there's so many times we push pause instead of play.
Right.
So for women listening right now, whether it's getting moving, whether it's writing a book, starting a podcast journey, rekindling a relationship with a friend, who knows, whatever it is for them, what would be your advice to them to push play instead of pause? Because you've done that beautifully.
Well, thank you. And I'm always checking myself on that on a regular basis. And I would say, number one, recognize the fear. Fear is real, but it doesn't have to hold you back. It's like a business partner. If you try to squash it and act like it's not there, it's just going to rear its ugly head at the worst time. So, okay, let's link arms, fear. Come on, we're going to do this together and start. Because what is the worst thing that's going to happen? When you start a podcast and you forget to press play, oh, well, we're going to do another one. It
Exactly.
might be better the second time anyway.
Exactly.
So start. I think it's really helpful to look at what is the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
And usually the only thing that's bad is a bruised ego. And we can get
Yes.
over that. So
I love
embrace
that.
the fear. It gives us courage when we embrace our fear and not hide from it. And then we just start. What is the next best step? And notice what is actually the worst thing that can happen, and just shine a light on it. It's okay. And
Exactly.
then it really takes the juice out of whatever that big monster we were making it, which really isn't big anyway. So it's okay. Just start.
Just
That's what I
start.
would say. Just
Oh, I
start.
love
And
that.
just
That was brilliant. Many goosebumps in what you just said. And it's so true. And what do we tell our kids growing up? I know you have 3 kids. I do too. I always laugh because 2 are off the payroll and 1 is in college. And I always say, what's the
yes.
worst thing that can happen? I still say that to them.
Right. Right.
And
Right.
we need to
Just
we
do
need to
it.
do
It's
that.
fine. We
Yeah.
need to do exactly. One of my team members was frustrated about something, and she said, I don't know if I can do it. I said, well, let's change our language to I haven't figured it out yet, because that leaves so much space for anything that's possible. And she said, you're right. That's what I tell my son. I said, I know. I'm just reminding you of what you already know. So
Yeah.
leave space for that, just the way we
Yeah.
do for our kids. Beautiful.
Exactly. Exactly. So I know as you're listening to this podcast, you're hearing about these incredible BossaBars. And you know what? Thanks to BossaBars, thanks to Julie, you can get some savings. So you can go to bossabars.com, BOSSABARS.com, and then you can go to shop. You can go right to checkout. And if you put in Fearless10, FEARLESS 10, you will receive special savings. So just wanted to pop that into the podcast because I know all your tummies are probably growling about now. So check it out, bossabars.com, and use the code FEARLESS10. You made a good point earlier in the conversation. You talked about the fact that maybe you wouldn't have asked for help as a younger version of yourself. And I certainly think that. I think when we're in our 20s and 30s, you're trying to get to the top of the ladder the quickest, and you don't need anybody's help because you look weak if you're asking for help. That's what we think, I believe. At least, a lot of women think that way. What is it like now around collaboration? I think that's just a key, a light that came on in my mind, certainly later in life. The key is collaborating. You're learning from others. You're getting there so much quicker together. And you said that's a big part of you building your brand. You've had to ask for help.
A lot of it. And because consumer packaged goods, CPG, that it was my first time in that. And the margins are really small, and you make a mistake, you're in the hole in like 2 seconds, and you run out of cash, you don't get to continue on your mission. So it's important. This is bigger than me. And so if I really truly care about menopause and the mission of empowering women in midlife, then I have to ask for help. And I love that about this conversation. Plus other brands, we're creating a whole new category here. We need each other. So we've all come together to collaborate. And it's so fun and beautiful and empowering and inspiring. It's so good. And so it kind of forces you beyond your ego of like, I'll just figure this out myself, because nobody can. You really can't. And we're doing big work in the world within our sector of product or service. And it's more important that we put our egos aside in order to help as many and impact as many midlife women as possible than it is to try to stand in a corner like, oh, I've got this, when we're like, no, actually, I don't have this. It's okay.
Exactly. And we're really laying the groundwork for the generations behind us. I see it with my daughter, especially. I have one girl, 2 boys, and she sees me ask for help. And that's empowering for her to see, because she's like, all right, maybe I do need a little help on this.
Yeah,
I think we're doing such service to them.
I agree. It's so funny. I have 2 sons and a daughter also. Exactly. And my sons are all about menopause too. Everybody in my family is about menopause. They know way more than they ever wanted to, but that's a good thing. But yeah, modeling for them that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to get frustrated. It's okay to not know. I think it gives them a lot of space for growth too, versus maybe their younger selves see their parents as, oh, they're perfect. You know how kids think their parents are perfect when we know we're not, but they hold us in that way. And so when they see us struggling out loud or asking for help out loud, I think it gives them a lot of opportunity to not have to know everything or fear judgment also, which I think is huge.
Mm-hmm. Julie, you said earlier about a recipe. It kind of all started as a recipe. Is that what this was?
Yeah.
Like, was this a recipe that you put together in your kitchen, or how did you come up with this? Because they are really tasty. They really are. I mean, I've had a lot of bars over the years. You pick one up at Whole Foods, or I get sent them things from time to time. And this is really good.
Yay. Thank you. I worked really hard at the taste.
Yeah.
Because they can be as healthy. Our it's called, in the lingo, an ingredients deck, our deck of ingredients. They're very thoughtfully curated from a lot of research about what helps women. The shiro, not hero, but shiro ingredient is maca. So maca is a Peruvian root that is known to help support balancing hormones and blood sugar, which that is what we need in the stages of menopause, plus fiber. Fiber, ladies, we need way more fiber. Hello.
Yes.
I see you waving your hand. We need more fiber. So each bar has 29% of our daily requirement for fiber. But the bonus is it keeps you full, and it's a prebiotic. Get that gut, organized and doing what it's supposed to do. And when you're full, you're not looking for what I call the killer C's of cookies, candies, and chips. Those are not our friend. And then, of course, they're plant-based or vegan. They have protein. because we need that for muscle. So I did a lot of research, plus MCT oil for brain fog, flaxseed, antioxidant, like all the good things, and sea salt because we're a little salty during
I
menopause.
love it. Yep. Yep.
So it was just a good thing that I loved. It took me a minute. The first few attempts, they tasted like dirt. I will be honest, because when you're putting natural things together, if you don't get the balance right, ooh, that's a doozy. But it can be so clean and great. But if it tastes terrible, then that's not going to work. So I worked with a formulator once I decided what the ingredients I wanted them to be, to really optimize the blend to make them yummy, because if we deserve yummy in midlife.
Yeah, we deserve yummy. We've earned it. Yeah, I love the MCT oil. I've been doing a lot about that. I was sent something a while ago to put a tablespoon in my coffee or a teaspoon in my coffee for brain health. And I just saw that was a part of one of the ingredients here. I mean, so how can we get these? So for people listening all over, well, they listen all over the world, but let's break it down, how we can find you and how they can order their bars, where they can find them.
Yeah, we love it when women buy them on Amazon, because I want you to get them as quickly as possible. So you can buy them on our site at BossaBars.com. But if you want them fast, go to Amazon and get your boxes right there. But make sure you check out our site too, because we have a lot of deals happening through the end of 2022 and the beginning of 2023. So hop over there, see what's happening. But if you want them fastest, get them on Amazon. We love all that. And I have tons of resources on our site as well at BossaBars.com.
Your site's wonderful. Yeah.
It's about education and community. You can even find a link to find an OBGYN that specializes in menopause from our site. So we really want to be that resource, as well as a great bar for you to keep in your bag, because you don't want to get caught in the afternoon with decision fatigue and having to make a choice, and it's not going to be a good one. So
exactly. And it's so easy to do that. Yeah. I'll link everything to the episode notes so people can easily find you, and we'll put an Amazon link there too. That's perfect. Let's talk briefly about kind of your pillars. I love to talk about pillars in your life, the people that really hold you up, the people you go to, which can be friends, family, however it is. But, when you had this idea, did you get a little of questions from friends saying, oh, Julie, do you really think this is going to work? Or did you have friends that said, I just don't get it? Or you're intimidating to them. Let's be honest. You're very successful. You're confident. You take action on ideas, which a lot of women then can kind of shy away from and feel intimidated by.
Yeah, my friends are all super supportive of me as a human. So I don't really have that. But let me just tell you, Amy, I got huge pushback on menopause. Why do you want to create a bar for women in the stages of menopause? Why do you want to stay menopause? Why do you want to talk about menopause? Yeah. Huge, Amy. I was honestly really surprised. And these are some of my besties. So it was very confronting for many of them. I actually like talking about things that people don't want to talk about. I find it very interesting. But they were like, oh God, Julie, like why can't you just have a bar for women? We love the ingredients. We like the idea. Why does it have to be menopause? So that was a little harsh. You hear me pause. It was a little bit surprising for me. I had to, but it made me more steely in what my beliefs were around this and the importance. But it was for a minute, I'm like, you don't like it, or the idea of it. Yeah. So it gave me a reality check. How committed am I to this? Mm-hmm. Am I willing to, through these women who I trust, and I know they love me, I love them, still continue on down this path and this journey? And the answer was yes. So I knew that's how I'm in. I'm all in.
You're all in.
So that was a big thing. That was a big thing. And I appreciate their feedback. I really appreciate that, because it made me even more committed and also sensitive to women who aren't quite ready to talk about it. Just because I'm so ready to talk about it, there's the majority of women who are like, I'm not really sure. So how can I make it accessible for them too?
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. Oh, I love it. What a great conversation. Last two things I'm going to ask. One is around self-care, because I do feel, since 2020, self-care, self-love, those things are plastered on Instagram posts and everything else. There's, all sorts of things around that. One thing, it's interesting that you hear this word permission a lot. Women should allow themselves permission to take care of themselves. I think permission is too strong of a word. We've earned it. I think we just
I was
You
going
just
to
should,
say,
you know?
don't make me say a bad word about that. I'm like, what?
Exactly.
Okay, keep
Exactly. How do you, as a, successful business owner, a mother, a wife, all these things that we wear as women, sister, wife, daughter, all of these things, how do you fit self-care and self-love into your routine? You said you have a strong morning routine, but how do you
Mhm.
take care of yourself and really carve out that time? And, you've earned it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, especially starting a company like this in midlife, it's required. So going back to mindset, to me, self-care is part of the business plan. If I don't take care of myself, then I'm not going to have the energy and juice that I need to do the things I want to do. And, having this company in my 50s is way different than starting business in your 40s or 30s.
Right.
That's just about pushing a boulder uphill. This business is about being smarter and more leveraged because the energy is not the same, just being real. So
True.
having my self-care, my morning routine is sacred to me. I try to get up and in the 5 a.m. hour, because I want that time before the sun comes up where I can sit in quiet and have quiet time, meditation, reading, coffee, water, and then do a little bit of a workout at the end. 20 minutes is plenty for me. That could be riding my cycle, my stationary bike, not even a Peloton, just a stationary bike.
Yeah.
Keeping it simple, lifting dumbbells in my little gym that I've created. But it's really more about the quiet time, Amy, meditation, prayer, silence, coffee. That is where I get those big downloads. That's where I rejuvenate my body. I try to go to sleep early also. Doesn't always work that well, but I try to get in bed by 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have that sleep, and of course, eating well.
I know.
Eat well, eat better, feel better. It's just a fact. Our bodies are all composed of what we eat. So I don't drink very much, occasionally going out socially. I just don't feel good drinking in midlife anymore. So
that's changed for me too. I agree.
But if I try to have my own bar, and when I want that sweet in the evening, I have my own bar most of the time. But just eating better during the daytime because I deserve good food.
Yes,
I deserve delicious, healthy food. So morning routine, getting the sleep, eating better. Those are all things required as part of my life business plan. I cannot do what I want to do in this life if I don't take care of myself first. Put my oxygen mask on first.
Exactly. So important. We need to be intentional about it. Well, this has been awesome. Yeah. I've got one last question for you. I can't wait to hear your answer. It's something I've asked everybody. So we're almost 200 episodes in now.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
awesome.
you. Thank you. Julie, if you were sitting on the couch and you look over and there's Julie at 30, what advice would you give her?
I would say, trust yourself. That's the main thing. Trust yourself, because I had all the same knowing that I have today then, but I didn't trust her. I had to get more certifications, more coaching, more workshops. Should I go back to school and finish my MBA? More, because I didn't trust what she believed to be true. And so I would just say, put my arm around her, like, girlfriend, you got this. Just trust yourself and take a little step. That way you don't have to make so many sideways turns, so many zigzags towards what you really know in your heart. That's what I would say.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. What a great soundbite to end this. Thanks so much. I will link everything to the episode notes. I look forward to doing more with you in 2023 because, I've heard about you for so long and so many people have said, haven't you had her on the show? Haven't you had her on the show? I love this. This is a great way to end my recording for the year, and people will love this episode. Thank you for being transparent, for being genuine, hardworking, honest, and just killing it right now. I think I'm really proud of you, and I will be supporting these bars 100%. I mean, I'll tell you, I just think they're delicious.
I got to send you some more, Amy. Thank you.
I know.
I'm so honored to be on your show, and I'm grateful, really grateful that you have been having this conversation for so long. You're way ahead of me in terms of discussing this and normalizing midlife and the empowerment and how beautiful it really is. So I'm grateful that you are the steward of this conversation and have been for a long time. So anything we can do, I can do to help support you in your mission. You know, I'm all in. We're all together now, Amy.
Exactly.
So
I'm telling you. I know. We need each other. Yeah. Thanks so much, Julie. We'll see you soon.
Thanks so much. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, so I hope that this episode inspired you, encouraged you, and challenged you. Because when we share our stories, they're inspiring. You know what? It's important for people to connect. Connection is key. People need people. So as you go forward this week or today, be a difference maker, be a change maker, not only in your life, but in somebody else's. Reach out with a text, an email, or a phone call. Connection is key. It builds community and it builds confidence. Go forth and be awesome, and I'll see you soon.